It's very clear our love is here to stay.
And welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It is beer, metal, swearing. I, of course, am Nick Cameron, joined by my good friend, the man who drinks a lager drink. He drinks a whiskey drink. He drinks a cider drink. He sings the songs that remind him of the good times. He sings the songs that remind him of the better times. My good friend, Keefy Chumbawamba. How we doing today, buddy?
I'm in a singing mood, so you guys just got treated to a little Our Love is Here to Stay.
My pants got tight. I appreciate that.
I'm sure. Singing in the Rain, right?
No idea.
I
No,
think
I
so.
do not know. No.
Yeah.
That song is ruined for romantic moments. Thank you to Alexander Delarge. Before we go Amtrak completely already, thank you for joining us. This is, of course, Glacial Musical Podcast. You are here for the meat of the day, Exodus Volume 4. Impact is imminent, and it's hard to find that on YouTube when you keep searching it for Collision. If you are here to begin with, thank you very much. If it's your day one, you are amazing and you made a right choice, and you have joined the people that have been joining us weekly after weekly, where we talk about a deep dive into an era of a band's career, typically a long era. And here's how it goes: we greet, we beer check, we vinyl check, we news of the day, talk about our shirts because we're metal nerds, and then dig into the meat of the day. My personal meat today was a slow cooked in butter and olive oil steak that I defrosted 4 minutes before it went into the pan.
How'd that come out?
Spectacular. A little overcooked, but it was buttery. It was a little spicy. Used some Aldi steak seasoning. Just Aldi brand steak seasoning is amazing stuff if you can get it. And it costs $1.10. You're going to make some delicious steaks for $1.10. Today, I am kicking it Centennial IPA because we've been doing this for over 100.
No shit. That's right.
Going to pour this into the Glacially Musical pint glass. We did find that these can go through the dishwasher.
And keep the decal on is what you're saying.
Yes, I would not recommend it. That is a finger fudge pour down the middle.
Good one.
And oh yeah, that is. I mean, look at that head. This pour is 85% head.
What is your beer though?
Centennial.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said Centennial, but I was like, who's the brand?
Founders Brewing.
Founders.
Centennial IPA featuring Centennial hops, which are delicious.
This is important.
Yes, it is a 7% ABV extra IPA. In my mind, what you got for us? Pop it like it's topped. I don't know.
I am drinking a beer I have never had before. Another Deftones beer from Belching Beaver, but one I have never had, and one I believe, unlike the last one that I did not enjoy, if you recall, I think I'm going to enjoy this Deftones Digital Bath Hazy IPA. I don't love all the hazies, but this will be a lot better than the milk stout that does not agree with me.
You know what's worse than milk stout?
No.
The one thing? Chocolate milk stout.
I've had a couple of those that weren't bad.
You know what's worse than that? Peanut butter chocolate stout.
I love oh, well, it doesn't TJ's make? Oh, no, Belching Beaver makes one. That's right. Haha, but they sell it at TJ's. Let's do the pop and see what happens.
I get the and then it stops.
This just doesn't pick it up. Oh, well. Finger fudge pour. Let's go. Rapid fire, son. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. It's like Wheel of Fortune. Cheers.
Cheers.
And beers up and cheers up. Oh, that's pretty good.
I'm glad to hear that.
This can is fucking beautiful, by the way. So you got the Belching Beaver, Deftones font for the single of Digital Bath. And if you look real careful, it's kind of green. I'm sure there's a weed theme here because of Deftones. There's baby white pony logos all over the can. This is a keeper. All these cans are gorgeous. I've kept all of them.
I'm curious. Does anybody, when they listen or watch this, because we have now officially hit the happy hour of podcasting, is anybody else cracking one open? Let us know. Hit a comment. Hit me on Twitter at NIK_NO_C. Let me know.
Word.
Let Keefy know. Let everyone know. All right, I'm gonna vinyl check now.
You do it, buddy.
I'm gonna drop a deuce this week.
Deuce, deuce.
Silly motherfucker pulled out a deuce, deuce. Little did he know, George Thorgood.
Yo.
This is got Gear Jammer, I Drink Alone, and other songs that aren't those.
Oh, I Drink Alone is one of his top whatever songs.
I got this for $8 at the Antique Mall. George Good and the Destroyers, Maverick, spectacular. I mean, look at how clean that is.
Did you already clean it, or you bought it that way?
I believe that this particular gentleman does clean them, but I didn't give it a full clean. I gave it a half wet clean where I don't fill up the washer all the way. I just wet the brushes. And because I cannot resist, I cannot stop, I will not stop. Oh, Keefy's making faces. It's gonna change. It's gonna change. Obituary.
Oh, okay.
Got the new record, Dying of Everything, which
I was about to die of embarrassment for Nick if he pulled out another Chili Peppers record.
Give me time. And Dying of Everything is precisely how I feel right now. I am getting older. I am 47, if you didn't know. I am like 3 years away from I'm 50, like Molly Shannon. When she did that, she was like 22. So, but cool thing about this record is on brand with the Obituary Boys. It's Safety Orange. You know, this is their brand new record. It just came out last month. It is my first official record of 2023. They're coming to town. They're playing at Red Flag with Immolation, Incantation, and Ingrown. We discussed it last week.
Try not to cover your mouth with the vinyl when you're talking.
Can't help it.
A little bit. Try to help it.
I will try, but I can't. I will definitely be at the show. What do you got for us, Keefy?
Obituary, by the way, and I mean this in the kindest possible way, but Obituary is definitely the Duck Dynasty of Floridian death metal.
But they do have like very, if you listen to the Department of Metal Antiquities this week, where we did an obituary record, they do discuss some left-wing ideals like the environment, Jerry Springer.
They are very not conservative. And they, again, like all the original death metal bands, they really were not Floridians. They really were from upstate New York and Kentucky. And
Florida death metal is apolitical. It's just, we're all gonna die. Let's sing about it.
Mostly,
I choose to believe that
because
I listen to Deicide and I don't want to stop.
Deicide, I won't argue, but not really. Okay.
I know I'm lying to myself and everyone listening.
Yeah,
I know that.
I have a vinyl check that will be familiar to you and all our fans because after we did our episode on Metallica, my Metallica came. So I just wanted to check in that I have it, and
he gets to check it because he didn't have it when we did the episode last week.
I think I have a lower number than you, which I always love. Number 007267. Yours was 008.
It was like 886 something. I get mine first by weeks.
I'm not a competitive person at all, but
it's funny to me because again, I get it by like weeks.
And even your last name is before mine. So whatever method they're using.
And I ordered it before you.
You ordered yours before me.
My last name is closer to the front of the alphabet than yours.
It surely is before mine.
Mine shipped before yours do.
I definitely did.
And I don't mean like arrive. I mean, I get my shipping notice before but every time my number is higher. Okay. I don't care about the numbers. I personally, thankfully.
Sorry for the head scratch there under my, I've been doing chores all afternoon. Started a new job this week. So I'm a little famished. It's not a permanent big deal job, but I like
jobs
are jobs. And I'm learning a new field, which is I'm still in social media, digital marketing, but I'm learning actually a new business, which is really exciting to me. And a business that helps people. So I'm all about it. But I have a half an extra vinyl check, and I'm going to make it quick. Just because we're finishing the series, I just wanted to flex and show. I only have 2 of them here. I probably have about 6 or 7 Exodus vinyls. But here is my Bonded by Blood that I checked previously on a Glacially Musical.
Yes, I
And
recall that. Very
and
nice.
then the most current album by Exodus, which is the very first Exodus record I have bought in real time on vinyl, like a lot of these things, because this is the first time I'm really buying vinyl in my whole life, except when I was a kid and a preteen. Here is Persona Non Grata. This artwork is incredible. This album is excellent.
Is that lenticular?
It does have kind of like a foil, raised foil here. I don't think it's lenticular. It's just a beautiful illustration, though.
Okay, fair enough.
And and if
I just like that word.
and I'm trying to recall who did the artwork. I think it's Eliron Cantor, who paints these with his father, his late father. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I have Fabulous Disaster on vinyl somewhere that was a OG press. I have more relative reissues, and I have some of the Rob Dukes ones also. Um, but yeah, just since we're doing Exodus, I wanted to just show my Exodus vinyls one more time
No,
that I have with me.
totally get that. And this is the last week of Exodus. And I totally understand when you start buying vinyl, because 99% of us when we start, we're like, oh, we're just gonna buy Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe I do need to pre-order that $200 box set. And then you do, and then you're like, well, now I have it. And then all of a sudden you're like, then it grows to, well, as long as I can get a download code, I'll buy the new ones. And then it grows to download code. Fuck that noise. I don't need that. And then this behind me happens because this is not a flex. This is not me, whatever. This is just legitimate, my honest truth. I was lying awake in the middle of the night, 3.5 years after the Glacially musical blog started. And I realized at that moment I would never have to buy another album again. And I would always have brand new music on my iPhone in my iTunes. Because that's what happens when it takes about 2 years of you using your own money, just being a little guy. And then all of a sudden, you reach out to one, you reach out to another, and then all of a sudden you start getting found. And as soon as one PR firm finds you, 1,700 others find you. And I have not written a review in 3 years. And I'm still getting constant emails, new bands, new stuff. And I unsubscribe from everything. But I'm lying awake and I couldn't sleep. And I thought, you know what? Now's the time to buy vinyl. I don't give two craps about vinyl. But if I buy vinyl, I will actually have to sit down and listen to it. I will have to actually care about it. And it won't be just me hitting shuffle on my iPhone. It will be me picking a record and putting it on the turntable. I already had a turntable. I already had a stereo. And then it morphed into and then it quickly got out of hand. It took 18 and a half minutes. It was like one time between two horse races at the local betting track before it was out of hand. And now at current count, and not everything is counted, we have 1,100. So
I have 300 vinyls back east in storage that I cannot access.
mm-hmm.
And I have, since I came to California with about 25 in my suitcase.
Well, we have done 80 of these, and you've checked one every episode.
There's a couple I missed. I missed a couple, but like I have about another couple of hundred here since I moved here. So like, and I'm not just buying. There's been an occasional shopping spree. I moved to San Francisco, and like my first paycheck in the black, I took myself to Amoeba, and I quickly dropped like
that's
I was making a big paycheck, and like my thing was like not a steak dinner, not a hot date, not a Broadway show. Let me go to Amoeba and drop $150 on bands I love. So like,
well, this past weekend, I came into a hundo that I could spend guilt free, and like literally actually paper. So we went to Joe's Records, and that's actually where Obituary came from, was Joe's Records STL.
Always shout that out. That's cool.
And I bought another one that I'll check later. I actually have a pile. My kid looked at the shelf recently, and she goes, "Dad, do you have a new editions pile like the record stores?" I'm like, "Oh, until I check them, because I'm not checking every record each week because I don't know when there's going to be a lean time. I don't know whatever." And I like the vinyl segment. It's a part of this. It's part of who we are.
Can I ask two noobish questions in a judgment-free zone here?
Good.
And maybe
the less I have to talk about today's record, the better.
No.
I tried. It's long week.
I understand. I have gripes with the record also. There's parts of it I love.
It's not that. It's anyway, go ahead.
Your Exodus is Nick only wanted to do 3 of these and I made him do a 4th. So that's also it. Maybe a second series later on from like Rob Dukes to now. He's like, new.
Nope.
I don't know.
We'll
see. So 2 questions that are not about Exodus. I notice your racks behind you have a nice amount of space.
Yeah.
And I know that you don't want them squished and you don't want the lean because it doesn't leave an impression. You don't have to get up.
No,
just
explain
it. I really rather you not.
Okay, I won't do that then.
I'd rather you not get up. Just explain it.
The reason why I have it this way is just to keep things simple.
Okay.
You want to leave these hold one of these holds 50 albums front to back. You only really want to put about 45 in them to give a little bit of breathing room.
Sure.
But see here, I got more room so I can fill that up. I don't want to be constantly moving over everything. So that's why it's that way.
And now here's the second question. So I've been getting my Mylars on and I'm slowly like a couple a week. I'll just go to my Discogs and try to stay current when I get a new thing, which I haven't been doing good at.
But my kid has a Discogs account now, by the way.
That's amazing. You have created a monster, but I'm trying to keep up. But I noticed the thing. Some of my vinyl, especially the more fancy ones, the Mylars are not fitting. And my OCD Earth Sign ass, I want it to go in like Flynn, like a deck of cards. I don't want
what you need is an outer sleeve.
Okay.
Sorry, bro.
No. Come to me. Come at me.
Now
you can turn around.
I'm gonna grab one right here. Friend of the show, not really. John 5. This was purchased at Vintage Vinyl, got about $23, as you may recall. It's in an outer sleeve. The thing about the outer sleeve is, I'll do it this way, holding the bottom.
There it is.
The record is not in the actual cardboard sleeve.
I don't have a lot of outer sleeves. I have some.
Yeah, you gotta.
Like how much do those run?
I don't know. Because here's the problem. I've never bought them.
I think I'm gonna have to buy some. You know what I could do? One of I'd say he's a friend. My favorite record store in America is owned by a guy I'm now friendly with. And so I could ask him his how much they are.
They're probably about the same as inners. It's again, and like inners, there's different, levels. Now, where it gets squiffy is if you're like me, because I about 2.5, 6 months into records, the idea of the 3 LP set got in my brain. And so it became, how many 3 LP sets can I get? And it's way too many. Anybody who has maybe purchased any Iron Maiden records that have been new in the past 10 years have a bunch. Shenjutsu, for example.
Why are you trying to make me feel bad?
It was easier to grab than Legacy.
I'm just teasing. You know how much I've complained how much about that shit.
But it's not in the Mylar because it doesn't fit.
Oh, shit.
None of the Iron Maiden triple LPs that I've gotten recently. Senjutsu, Legacy, Book of Souls Live, Book of Souls. Because of the way they do it, it doesn't fit. So no, I totally get that. It's
all right.
But it is
we have sidebarred quite enough. Let us blast through the rest of this.
All right.
Shirt check, quick news check episode.
Mayhem.
Brilliant. Great. Love it. I am wearing Crowbar. You've seen me wear this before. I love this shirt. Coincidentally, I once wore this shirt while photographing Crowbar. And Kirk Winstein pointed at me in the photo pit. Like, what do you like? You're wearing a shirt to the band. It was at a festival. I'm from a set in where I come from. If you wore the shirt of the band or you went to the show, bought the shirt and put it on, you're a bigger dork. That's some
I'm that guy.
gatekeepery.
I will always be that guy.
That's some gatekeepery shit. I understand now, but like, and I get it. Like somebody explained it to me like this. Like I used to have Giant season football tickets. Why you wear your Giant stuff to the Giants game? Why can't I wear my Metallica stuff to
Thank
the
you.
Metallica game? But I also want to show you a cool band you may not know. So I wouldn't wear Slayer and I wouldn't wear Megadeth. I would wear Sacred Reich, or I would wear Flotsam and Jetsam, or I wear Defiance.
I get you. I get
Forbidden.
you. It. You know what? Here's what it really is. If you ask Nick, wear whatever the fuck you want to wear.
There it is. Shirt etiquette.
What? And if you see a dude wearing a shirt you don't like, buy him a beer.
That's it.
So case in point, the next obituary show I go to, I'm gonna wear a Debbie Boone shirt. So hopefully everyone hates it and buys me a beer.
Fair enough. Let's do one news item each. I think I know what yours is, and you know what mine is. I think you'll know what mine is.
You go first because yours might be mine.
No, mine is definitely not yours.
Okay, mine's
you go first because it's like the bad news, and then I have also good but not great news.
So on Monday I took off doing work around the house, and I'm scrolling on the Facebooks, and all of a sudden my Roger Waters pops up with this very lawyery statement about Polly Sampson, and I'm like, whoa! And apparently Polly Sampson has just opened up the can of whoop ass on Roger, calling him everything you can think of that would piss him off. Some of it true.
So here's the genesis of this. By the way, this was globally trending all over social media.
Oh, which is great.
People were not great. People were freaking out and hot and cold and whatever. So Roger, who has been a lightning rod of BS for most of his career, but especially lately, Pink Floyd released a brand new song about a year ago to support a little less than a year ago, as we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of the war in Ukraine from Russian aggression. No one agrees this is a good thing.
Loved that song.
Great song. Sounded like Pink Floyd, with this other guy singing on it. And it raised $1 million for charity that went directly to Ukraine. No other, charity arm involved. There's no reason for David Gilmour is retired. There's no reason for him to come back. And Rick is passed on. There is really no Pink Floyd, but Nick was on board immediately. He's like, yes, let's make a song for this country. And just now, 11 months, a little over 11 months later, Roger feels like, oh, go ahead and taint the name with this single. It's not Pink Floyd, it's a fraud. And why are you supporting those Ukraine?
I'm gonna jump in real quick. When it comes to wars and supporting wars, and when I, to quote Roger, have the bravery of being out of rage, I will always support the attacked, not the attacker. If you invade, period. Yeah, you started it.
I'm a person that I know that my freedoms are protected by brave men, women, and other gender non-specific folks in the military all the time. Cheers. And I'm all about it. And I'm grateful. I am staunchly not for war unless absolutely necessary. And I always support the troops. I don't necessarily
Mr. Miyagi,
don't support wars.
Only.
Defense only, karate for defense, exactly. Karate Kid canceled, by the way, on Cobra Kai canceled on Netflix. But anyway,
they're not doing the last one.
They're doing the last one, and then that's it. And
it's 7 seasons. I mean, that's a lot.
6.
Well, six seasons is a lot.
I could watch this thing forever. I don't know about you, but all right.
I haven't finished the last. Anyway, continue.
So Roger attacks David. David doesn't fight back. Polly, his wife, who I am on record as not being a huge fan of, clapped back at Roger viciously on social media.
Oh yeah.
Just that's my husband, and she came for Roger, and a lot of people came for Roger because they come for Roger. He's wrong.
She took out the razor and just went.
She definitely had the big guns going. And then David just writes every word categorically true.
He might as well have just said, yup.
Yep. Yeah, he definitely did a yup. And so, Then Roger takes a beat like a day.
Do me a favor. Turn your gain down just a hair.
Sir, I'm yelling today. I'm tired and I'm very yelly.
It's fine. I love the loud. Go ahead. Perfect.
Loud. I want to hear it loud right between the eyes. We did that. By the way, 3 of our 5 Kiss episodes are some of our most popular episodes. I did not expect that. Anywho,
I did.
I'm so kissed out, but I'm thrilled that it worked. I'm thrilled that it worked. So David agrees with his wife defending him. Some of the things she said, I don't have a full scope of. Some of the things she said, very true about Roger. Roger just puts out a legal statement back, basically, on his website. And so that's when you came in. This is where we came in. So
yeah,
like the
lawyer
wall.
up. Gonna lawyer up.
Yeah, well, so this is why we can't have nice things. Nick and I on the Animals 3 different ones series were like, why can't we just maybe now that this is out and out of the way, these guys will cooperate, we'll get further. No, we won't. No, we won't get anything.
No.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Because you know what? Right now, we are, and I'm just going to finish this up if you don't, unless you have anything else.
Yeah. Bring it home.
We are presently 5 weeks away from the 50th anniversary of the zenith of Pink Floyd, the beginning of the Phenomenon album, the beginning of everything. And these two can't just look at each other in the eyes and go, you know what's awesome? What we created together.
Yeah, no, none of that.
Never gonna happen.
No, they hate each other, and it's
they
all this.
They could have done a 50-year anniversary tour.
No, I don't want to tour. I just want them to get along so we can get. They can't tour. They couldn't get along to do. He wouldn't hug him at the show. Rick is gone. David is retired. Look, he sold 80% of his guitars, including his Blackie #1.
I can dream.
He sold it.
I can dream and blame Roger.
They're all dicks. They're all kind of dicks. And I'm going to be honest.
I know.
I would want my future partner. I would want a partner. I've had ride or die ladies in my life. Ladies are my preference. Whatever you like is fine. I've had ride or die people in my life. And I would want them to defend me the way Polly defended David. Also, you're not a member of the band. Shut the fuck up.
She kind of is.
She isn't.
She kind of is.
She is not.
She's a collaborator. She's an associate.
Is JJ Cale a member of Eric Clapton's band? I hate to bring him up, but like, is Roy Harper a member of Pink Floyd? That's as much as a member.
No, that was one album. She's on He's
on a song. He's on a song. He sings lead on a song.
Yeah, I know. That's a good song.
Anyway, but, here's my news.
Here's what I will say. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My wife will defend me, support me, be there for me all day long until the moment I get into a Twitter fight. Then she's gonna give me the middle finger and walk away.
No fighting on Twitter. Nobody. No. It's not worth it. I've seen a lot of terrible stuff on Twitter, especially lately. And let's not fight on Twitter. Let's not fight on social media.
I want my wife to not get involved in my Twitter fights.
Yeah. If she has to, you have a problem.
Exactly. Polly.
Right.
Continue.
So really quickly, we have not left a lot of time for this, but it needs to get discussed, and I'm gonna go very fast. Let's talk about the 65th Grammy Awards.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I mean, in the good news, Ozzy won for Metal Performance and Best Rock Album. Totally. I mean, like, he beat Ghost.
Just going to point out, metal is not rock, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely true. He Best Metal Performance and Best Rock Album. So Best Metal Performance was for the song What I Owe Me. So he and Iommi have a Grammy together. That's great.
Cheers.
That's worth cheersing. And then Best Rock Album for Patient Number 9. Amazing. Just to let people know, the voting is done months in advance. So there is no sympathy vote for Ozzy's recent announcement. There's no sympathy vote for Jeff Beck.
It's the same as the MVP in baseball.
It's voted on and Coach of the Year and all these things. It's voted on in advance. At the same time, though, so yeah, like let's not diminish that Ozzy won 2 Grammys. his first Grammy since No More Tears, his first multiple wins ever. I don't care about the awards, but there's the idea that he's getting lauded is nice.
Correct.
He beat out Ghost, who was insanely popular. He beat out Turnstile, who was nominated for 3 Grammys and won 0. Turnstile's like the girl with the pearl. I know they're not your thing, probably musically, if you even know who they are. They had one of the biggest albums last year. It used to be like a straight up hardcore band, and now they're kind of like Chili Peppers, but hardcore. I'm not exaggerating. And fun. And they are in a Taco Bell commercial, a hardcore band. And they've sold out their entire tour after tour, and they're headlining Furnace Fest. The fact that they got nominated at all is wonderful. They didn't win one award. That's an oversight. My problem with the Grammys, you know what really grinds my gears? I once interned at CBS in college in the 90s, and I saw Andy Rooney in person, and I really wanted to kill him, but I didn't. I was like, you could just, an old man falls down the stairs all the time, but I didn't do it.
Holy hell, he just almost went straight showgirls.
I was exactly going to say straight showgirls. So, I love Brandi Carlile. She won Best Rock Song of the Year for a song that is not a rock song, for an artist that she's like 10-15% rock.
Gotta be honest, I have her newest album.
It's wonderful. It's not rock.
Not a big fan.
You didn't like it.
I expected what I heard on SNL, and I didn't get that on that record.
Well, that one song is unbelievable. It is like the Hello by Adele of this.
I'm gonna listen to it one more time, and if it doesn't ring,
I think you gotta kind of see her live or see a concert. She's much better live. But the record is wonderful. I read her book.
Put out a live record, not buy it.
I'm a fan.
I'm sorry.
I'm a fan of Brandi Carlile. She should not really get nominated in the rock category when she's going to win. She was nominated for Album of the Year. She was nominated in the Americana and Country category. So it's like, I think it was like, how can we manufacture her to win in all the categories kind of thing by the Academy, which is why no one likes the Academy or trusts them. So I could go on and on whinging away. I will
I'm going to throw this out there. It's like when Dennis Leary was on the MTV VMAs in 1994, I believe, after Get a Grip, and he's going on blah, 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 blah. We got fake ponytails, and Aerosmith's going to win anyway. We all know Aerosmith's going to win anyway. They didn't win that one, but they won 18 other ones. So
we all know that Dennis Leary stole his entire act from Bill Hicks. But anyway, I digress. I love Dennis Leary, but yeah, he stole.
And everything. I love Aerosmith.
And I do love I did love Aerosmith. I don't know about now, but all right.
I still love Aerosmith.
Let's just like the Grammys are BS. I'm glad Ozzy won, just like the Hall of Fame, which we had that discussion. Just like it's worth talking about. I'm glad Ozzy won.
Is it real? No. Is it worth talking about? Yes. Is it nice? I think Anthony Kiedis shovel-loved it best in 1992 when he said, you can never truly award the art, but it's wonderful to be recognized by your peers.
Fair enough. I just want to say one last thing, that they awarded the Grammy for the very first time for the score of a video game.
I'm also going to mention Anthony Kiedis whenever I can now.
You shouldn't. I'm going to send you the video. I don't love this guy anymore. I used to be a fan. Not so much anymore. Finn McKenty, the punk rock MBA, just did a whole thing on did these songs hold up? And he's literally like the Chili Peppers are like one of the pinnacle band where the entire band are brilliant geniuses and the singer is awful. And he just made my point for me. I made such a strong point there. Nick just left the chat. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. That's true. But you know what? Blood Sugar Sex Magic is still a top 100 of all time record.
You interrupting my point about the video game thing sucks. Anyway, we're trying to get through this, and you don't like this album. We're going to blast through this album in 22 minutes. Anyway, I promise you, I want to mention Stephanie Economou. If I said that correctly, I probably didn't. She won for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which metal fans love, this Norse pagan music. And that's what she did. She scores soundtracks like that. She's done a bunch of stuff that you would be like, oh, wow, she did that. She's brilliant. But she won the first Grammy ever for a video game, which you being a video game guy, I think you would love that.
I think that is absolutely awesome. You know, video game storytelling, I have argued for a very long time, decades, in fact. Video game storytelling is just as relevant as novel storytelling, is just as relevant as movie storytelling. And the idea, you know, we've done scores for how many scores do you have in your collection? Anyone listening? We've all got plenty of them.
Yeah,
So, and I've got video game soundtrack. We've all got them. I mean, the fact that this now, you know, my good friend, I wish, Megaran, who follows me on Twitter for reasons that are completely he started following me before he got huge. So I mean, unlike the Blues, he still follows me. But video game music is music, and if you can do a television theme, if you can do a movie score, you can grade a video game. You know, there's been a lot of great music, especially now that video game music, like remember the PS4 commercials where, oh my God, my girlfriend thinks it's a movie. What do I do? And you know, it's starting in 1994. Video game music has been not the chip tunes like I Fight Dragons uses or Bitforce tries to emulate, but the music that we hear in crystal clarity. I yield my time.
I yield your time. All right, then. I'm not a huge fan, but good job by the POTUS last night on the State of the Union. And fuck MGT one more time.
Oh my God, she didn't take the bait. She says,
Why didn't she?
I don't know.
Why does she dress like Emma Frost and Cruella DeVille banged? Like I don't.
I'll just say this: if Marjorie Three Names didn't take the bait, I don't know what she's thinking. So let's move on. Let's exit from that into Exodus. So we are now going to kick it live with Exodus's fourth record. Impact is imminent. Apparently, if you keep Googling Collision is imminent, you can still find it, but it's not. You know, it's a thing. It's a thing that happened. Go ahead.
I'm gonna start here, and then we're gonna rapid fire through this thing. When you think of the best fourth album by pinnacle thrash metal bands, right? And Justice for All.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm not talking about.
It's right there.
Yeah, I'm not talking about EPs, but In Justice for All, Rust in Peace.
Yeah.
Not Anthrax. Sorry, love them, but not them.
South of Heaven.
South of Heaven for sure. People don't really realize that like the early Slayer counts, but
it shouldn't, but it does.
Well, but it does.
The first two records should not
quote
count,
Mike Patton. It does, but it does.
Yeah.
And then so you know, if you can think, there are some other bands that struck it hard with the fourth record. To arguably Testament started getting good with their third and fourth record. And that doesn't happen here for Exodus, and there's some reasons why.
It does not.
Tom Hunting leaves the band due to illness. I don't want to make light, you know, he just revealed that when they discovered his cancer from a year and a half ago, he actually had a second different kind of cancer that was accidentally discovered while trying to figure out the first cancer and how to treat it. So he had an additional different cancer entirely in his body at the same time, a separate tumor that they had to remove. They were a little too soon when they were like, he's cancer free. It was a little premature by Gary on social media.
Sadly, it usually is.
It is, but he's been great for, you know, this whole time. I saw him play drums live twice since then, so he seems rock solid. But he left the band supposedly due to illness. Could have been a variety of things. Band was, you know, I love, you know, again, we talked about these records, and Zetro really came into his own with the last record where he really started to feel himself. And feel
last record was 10 out of 10 banger.
I wouldn't quite say a 10.
8.5.
Yeah, I think 10 is a little generous, but better than the second record.
Yeah,
which
I
really
again, like the second record.
Which I also really like the second record, especially the second half of the second record. So they get to do the fourth record. They get Johnny Tempesta, the former drum tech for Anthrax, as their drummer. It is his first thing ever on anything before he ends up going to Testament and then White Zombie later on. and then Rob Zombie, and now The Cult and other things. And it's the last album with Rob McKillop on bass. They replace him later. During 1989, I'm a little murky on when Tom leaves exactly, but it's during 89. They recorded a live album in 89 that comes out in 91, 92 following this album.
Well, I mean,
So,
was the late 80s a fertile time for the live record? It's a thing that comes and goes. It's a boomerang.
yeah. Not,
You know,
not
you
as
look
much as the 90s.
can you name a quality live record from the 90s?
I mean, 101 Proof by Pantera. I talk about it all the time. Live
Okay.
shit, binge and purge all the time.
Doesn't count. That's a box set.
Anthrax Live, The Island Years.
Not a fan.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. What can I can't change it.
I mean, Slayer, Decade of Aggression. No.
That's a really damn good one, actually.
Live. What's the second Maiden live one, which is not a Real Dead one? It's not terrible. It's not great.
Okay, a real live one, a real dead one are completely unnecessary at best.
Probably, but like again,
Not terrible, but not classic.
I'm sure there are more. I'm just not remembering.
That's fair. But it just the live album is a thing that comes and goes.
I mean, Ozzy has
Live and Loud
is great.
That's a really good one.
And it's actually probably the best thing Zakk Wylde ever did was that live album.
Probably. Definitely.
Probably. Well, I mean, I like some Black Label Society stuff. Anyway, so Trouble's in the band, and they go to make Impact is Imminent, and for the first time since before Bonded by Blood, they write a collaborative record where they all attribute the writing to Exodus. And there's no less work from Gary. Most of the songs you can hear have his imprint, him and Ricky Hulnault, especially the guitars. But something is a little off on this record. And I'm going to say ahead of time, I think it's the production. I tried to listen to it through my cans here, my headphones. I tried to listen to it on my phone. I listened to it again on the computer, and I was like, there's something in the mix that I really is irking me. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
I listened to it in an earpiece via my work computer. I listened to it through an AirPod, and I listened to it through my car stereo on the way home. And you know what? You're right. It did not occur to me that at no point did this record catch. And that was something Gary Holt said was if he could have one record back, it was this one.
Yeah.
To do again. And you know what? Maybe if it was done again, it would catch with me, but it just never caught.
I would have liked him to elaborate on that comment. Is he mean the songs or the album as a whole?
He loves the songs. He just doesn't think it was recorded well.
They produced it. Gary and Rick produced it. So
well, you know what?
Maybe the folly of the band and these albums is that I don't want to say it's the reason they didn't get further, because clearly the loss of Paul was hard to overcome, even with Zetro, who is great.
A good friend of mine once said he paid $1,500 to pay for a publicist when they were doing an East Coast tour. And he said, I don't want to devalue the work. They know this better than me. And that's why you hire a producer, because they know this better than you. And you have to accept sometimes that you're not the expert. And self-produce, I mean, how many, and I mean, off top of your head, I mean, we spent way longer on the 90s metal live records than I expected. How many self-produced records can you name that are classics off the top of your head?
I can't off the top of my head. I really can't.
Exactly.
Maybe Devin Townsend.
How many amazing producers can you name off the top of your head that have worked with multiple bands?
I mean, Medi.
I mean, we could sit there for 20 minutes because that's what they do. And if they have a better producer, maybe Gary is more satisfied. But the sound does not work for me on this record.
What is it about it for you? Is there a specific thing I'd like to know?
Yes, completely. It lacks dynamics. That is a songwriting production issue. It lacks sound change. It is the same. It's a set it and forget it record. They found a tone.
It dialed in and that was it.
Right, dialed it in. There's not even any clean sounds on this record to speak of. There's not any changes in the solo. There's one solo sound. There's one lead sound. There's one rhythm sound, and that's the whole record. Zetro, love him. Not as much as Paul, but he does not have spectacular range as demonstrated on the album. We discussed him last week where he is much better than he shows, and he didn't show. He didn't. So it feels a little more phoned in than it is.
Fair enough. I think for me it is a dynamic range issue, and there's a sonic thing, the treble between like the guitar leads and
it is not mixed well.
The cymbals are just like irking me, man.
When I listened to it, it sounded shrill.
Yeah, shrill. That's the word.
And you know what metal should never sound?
Shrill.
Shrill. It should sound bassy and deep or MIDI.
That's fair. Not MIDI, not MIDI, MIDI.
MIDDIE, obviously, with an umlaut over the I and the E.
Yes. So
the second I, not the first I.
Yeah, so let's just blast through some of this discussion. The live album I was referencing, by the way, is Good, Friendly, Violent Fun, which is obviously a lyric of theirs.
Great title.
It is a great title. And then so this record comes out in June of 1990 after recording it in December. I love the album cover, by the way. It kind of feels more like LA than San Francisco, but they're definitely on a highway being chased by a giant pinball ball. I don't know. Exodus is in love with being on the front cover of their albums, like as a whole band, until much later.
Yeah, and that cover to me was, what is this, 1990?
Yeah.
1990 metal is in a very serious phase. Think about what's around
just that year alone: Persistence of Time, Seasons in the Abyss, Rust in Peace, Lights Camera Revolution, Mind Crime, all these incredible albums.
And here's 4 jackasses and a pinball.
5.
Okay, 5 jackasses and a pinball.
So let's kick it. Now, opening with the best song on the album, in my personal opinion, the title track, Impact, is Imminent.
I want to disagree.
Okay. Curiously timed at 4:20.
Ooh.
And I don't mind the little extra at the beginning, 30 seconds, 45 seconds of,
I like that it's in the song. Comes up on shuffle.
It's in the song. You hear the whole song. And I will say, fantastic riff salad, fantastic chromatic riffage by Gary.
That's the whole record. It is a riff salad, and that's why he wanted to do it again.
Yeah, and maybe I do like Zetro's vocals on here quite a lot, and I did feel like he was settling in for him, like getting his own identity. Obviously, the band has an identity that is that sound. I will also say that this song and this album are weirdly reminiscent of Anthrax. The various like kinship, and it could be a cousin of an Anthrax song, not derivative, but just like, oh yeah, I recognize like the sound of Anthrax. Any thoughts beside what I said?
I absolutely agree with that, and I just wanted to say I hope nobody thought that I don't like Zetro. It just, this album, his performance was not what it could have been.
I think this is actually one of the better performances he has. And again, it's hard for a person to come in and replace. Like Dio didn't have to try to be Ozzy. Zetro had to try to be Paul or better, and he's a better vocalist than Paul. Like just it's hard to overcome the loss of a personality like Paul.
All great points.
Second track, AWOL, apparently based on the Oliver North trial and story. with
Look,
a lot of
anytime we can kick Oliver North in the dick, I'm there. Anybody
kicking.
who sells arms to our enemies, yeah, I'm a big fan of kicking them when they're down.
I don't know that I needed almost 6 minutes of this song, but it's a good song.
You have wow, nailed it. Moving on.
Moving on, Lunatic Parade, a little more streamlined, crossover thrash at its finest. I
I don't know
like this
about
track.
finest, but okay.
No, I mean, like, this is an atypical crossover thrash song. I think
Okay,
it's
that is fair. Just not.
very good. Not the best. All right, finest is an exaggeration, but it's a
No, I
good
mean
track.
this is the same year that DRI Four of a Kind came out.
That's also true. I was just, and weirdly enough, after I played this recently, most recently, right before the pod, DRI kept coming up on that playlist after. Thank you, Music AI, for knowing what I
Actually
want
have
to
a copy of I have a copy of Four of a Kind on OG vinyl that I bought on Father's Day one year.
Nice work. They lived here in the Bay for quite some time, and I
Great band,
still,
great,
yeah,
so underrated.
we probably should do a DRI run. Lunatic Parade is the third track. I just described that. Within the Walls of Chaos is fourth, and it's long, and I don't know why, and it's okay. It's not great.
You have just wow. I mean, if we were going to do a 4-word review of this record, you just threw it out there.
Okay.
The record, every song is a little too long, and the whole record is a little too long, and it's one of those albums where if you had cut it back by 15%, it improves the entirety of it by 50%.
This might have been like their first CD also, so I wonder if they were not trying to get to like a certain number of minutes, because it is a long record.
This was released on original vinyl.
Was it?
I did not look to buy it, but yes, it was.
Fair enough. My second favorite song on the record, and just I love this song unabashedly, is Objection Overruled, which is, I think, about the People's Court, like Judge Wapner and shit. TV
all
court.
of them, not just People's Court, but yeah.
Okay, Judge Judy.
I don't think that it can really, if you didn't live it, you cannot understand just how many of these shows existed.
She's still on the air, by the way, Judge Judy.
I know. All you had to be was a numbnuts with a grievance, or Ike Turner, or Johnny Lydon, and you could get onto one of these fucking shows.
I feel like that the court shows were the flip side to Cops.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And also like the rise of cop television, NYPD Blue, Hill Street Blues.
No, Hill Street Blues was early 80s.
I know.
Although it did come back in syndication in the early 90s, like big time.
Enough. Fair enough. Good song. Objection Overruled, though.
Good song. There is nothing. The thing about this record is there's nothing bad. It's just not punch because they went a little longer than they needed to. It lacks some punchiness for me.
It's not quite progressive metal, but they're trying to.
They want to be, but they don't. It's the smartest thing Paul Stanley ever said was, "We can't be a jam band. We're not good enough."
He knew what he was talking about, that guy.
Yeah, he completely know your role, shut your hole, and know your role.
That's great. Did you just quote like Steve Austin?
No, I quoted The Rock.
The Rock. Sorry,
I don't know. I didn't watch WWF or WWE, so I'm pretty sure it was The Rock.
Okay, number 6.
But that's genius. I'm sorry. That is genius, because you know what? Know your niche, and you can get rich.
Okay, unnecessary. You know when Wile E. Coyote accidentally gets slipped the alum by Roadrunner and his whole face scrunches up? The 6th track is Only Death Decides, and I decided this track is also too long, but it's all right.
Did not need this one. Moving on.
Yeah, skippable. Heads they win, tails you lose. Also skippable. Starting to get very squiffy on the. This is the first album of these 4 where the second half is not all killers. Unfortunately,
it's the first time in these albums. We're on what, album 4? The first, Bonded by Blood, is 10 out of 10, completely. I think Fabulous Disaster is 8.75 out of 10. Not quite an A, but way better than a B. Pleasure of the Flesh, pretty damn good. I'd give that a solid B, solid straight B, 8.5 out of 10. This one, it
We're not there yet, but yeah.
go ahead.
Don't go to the grade just yet. We got 2 more minutes. Actually a little bit better. I like Changing of the Guard a little bit more than the last few tracks. It's also too long, but it's better. It's a good song.
Nothing to add there.
Okay. And then the closer is awesome. I love Thrash Under Pressure. They occasionally still play it. I wish they would play it every show. It's 2 minutes, 38 seconds. Great sing along part. Thrash Under Pressure. Just perfect. I love it.
Great song, good closer. I mean, you bring the thunder. It's like Mitch Hedberg said, man. When you do comedy, you got to start strong and you got to finish strong. It can't be all 8 minutes and you're sick of them like pancakes. And they did that, but I'm gonna go ahead and sum this shit up. This one for me is it's a mediocre record because they didn't. The production choices were wrong, the engineering choices were wrong. I can't look to this album apart from. I mean, there's some great solos, there's some good riffs, there's some well-worn riffs, there's some beaten path riffage. It feels like a lot of that middle period of King Diamond, Merciful Fate 90s, where they felt like they had to get that record out, but they didn't have a record to get out, but they still got product out. And at this time, as discussed, Slayer drops, Pantera drops, Megadeth drops. I mean, right now, the biggest names in metal are all dropping. So Exodus has to be a part of that because they're close to joining that. They're close to joining that level. Oh, Iron Maiden, No Prayer for the Dying. Jesus Christ, that fucking thing drops. We wish it hadn't.
Oh, brutal.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. Just to piggyback off of this as we wind this down, randomly the band opened for the Chili Peppers. Here we go again in Oakland.
I forgot to mention that.
So this is on the Mother's Milk end of the Mother's Milk tour, and the band had they're like an arena show at the Kaiser Center in Oakland, which I don't think is around anymore. And
there's nothing more I want to see than that tour.
Exodus open for the Chili's. How terrible.
Oh my God, that would be awful.
Then they were the middle band on a tour with Suicidal Tendencies and Pantera.
Oh, there we go. We nailed that
Pantera one. Opening. Then they were supposed to go to Europe with Flotsam and again, this is according to Wikipedia, so if I'm wrong, don't at me. I'm sorry, but this is what Wikipedia says, and I seem to remember this, that they were supposed to go to Europe with Flotsam and Jetsam, Violence, and Forbidden. I would be in the front row for that shit. Those are 3 of my favorite bands ever.
Ooh, I saw Forbidden back in the day.
I love Forbidden so much, and they're never coming back. It breaks my little heart, but
great thrash band.
It's for the best. Worth a run. And
they were one of the bands at the beginning of my returning to metal, returning to the underground, that they were a part of it. Twisted into Form is seminal.
That's my shit. And that tour did not happen. So Flotsam, Violence, and Forbidden with Exodus did not happen. So Exodus toured America again. And at the final date of that tour, they did the live album. Oh, the final date of that tour was at the Fillmore, which is across town from me now. And they had planned to keep touring, but the label didn't want to pay for tour support anymore. So they were screwed. They
missed out on a Judas Priest tour, the last Judas Priest tour before the reunion. I'm sorry.
Pantera got that. Pantera got that spot instead of Exodus.
Wow. And then Pantera exploded in 4 months. Man, do you think A had anything to do with B?
And apparently they were originally supposed to be Death Angels replacement on the Clash of the Titans, but they got skipped for that too. Holy shit, they have bad luck.
What band was it we talked about? Oh, Thin Lizzy. Thin Lizzy, where
you can never get the touring right.
It's as soon as they get close, the chain is moving, it's on the cogs, and then it slips.
Yeah. So this is how bad it got for Exodus based on Impact is Imminent. And we'll give the scores in a minute and wrap it up. They had a live album and a compilation album in the next year and a half before they went in and made a new one. So that's not good, right? We can agree that that's a bad sign from the record label.
Agreed.
They were already off to another record label by the compilation. So Relativity, I guess, licensed the album.
And this was their first on Capitol.
And it didn't go well.
We didn't even mention that. They went from, oh shit, was it Roadrunner?
No, I think it was Combat.
I apologize. Combat. They go from Combat to Capitol. Oh, Capitol bought Combat, so that's not really actually special.
Well, but I mean, it does.
But they put it out on Capitol.
So really quick, just to blast through the history in 30 seconds.
Hit it.
Live album compilation. Grunge Black Album inspired Force of Habit, almost as bad as what's the Testament album that's awful at that same time? No, I love Low, the one before it.
Ritual.
That one is crap. I know people love Return to Serenity, as do I, but the whole record's mid.
My best friend used to always say when Testament came up, Testament, Ritual.
Terrible record. It's very Black Album. Everybody heard Black Album. He quit after. I think he's on it. But they had Juan Ortega. Anyway, Force of Habit, not that great. Then they have another live album with Paul. They reunite with Paul for a tour or two. And then Paul dies. And they reunite for the the Thrash, the 9/11 tribute show. It was like Chuck Billy had cancer. Paul dies of a stroke, and they do this charity thing that also inspires the 9/11 tribute concerts also, believe it or not. And Exodus kind of had been broken up, and they reformed for this, even though Paul is gone. And they go to make, really quick, they make what is one of their best albums with Zetro, Tempo of the Damned. And right after they finish the record, Zetro just bails. He never shows up to do the rehearsals for the tour. He quits on them, which causes some bad blood. He comes back into the band years later, 12 years later to be exact. In his stead, they cobble it together with some backup guys for a tour with Megadeth. That 2004 Tempo of the Damned is like Exodus with two guys, and Megadeth with only Dave and nobody else.
Megadeth is only Dave. Continue.
No. They have I highly recommend you check out the Rob Dukes era of Exodus. It is brutal, incredible.
I have seen Rob Dukes.
So have I.
Live.
So have I. He's great.
Loved it.
Met him, interview him, hung out with him. He loves the Rangers. He's from upstate New York. I love that dude. He was like a roadie for them, and he asked for a tryout, and he nailed it. In the you got to give respect.
I saw him on the first Slayer tour.
Yeah.
It was Exodus, Suicidal, Slayer. It was the first Slayer tour after Heinemann's death.
Yeah.
And oh my God, the tears I had.
Yeah.
When they brought down the Heineken logo.
Yep.
And Tom just stood there looking at it for 30 seconds.
Yeah, pretty much. It was they've been using it. It was a whole thing. And then Zetro's been back in the band for 2 albums. They kind of booted Dukes unceremoniously for no real reason I can think of. Having Zetro back in has not helped them suddenly become a headline band. They're still opening for everybody else. They're opening for Anthrax and Black Label Society. Exodus, unquestionably, in terms of respect, right alongside the Big Four to me. In terms of the consistency and success, they never had it.
Would completely agree. I also saw them again with Zetro at Pops opening for Testament a couple of years after the Slayer tour. Exodus is a cautionary tale, and they are proof that you can do everything right and not get there.
I hear you. Let's rank these albums and take it on home.
All right. I'll go first if you don't mind. I would say Bonded by Blood, which is 10 out of 10. Then we go to Fabulous Disaster, 8.5 out of 10. Then we go to the sophomore record, which is a solid 7.5 out of 10. And then we get to Impact is Imminent.
I feel like you want to say something else. No?
No? Did I
All
miss
right.
one?
No. I have the exact same ranking. So we're in agreement. And
That's not a word.
it is now. Keith Phonics. And yeah, man, I'm glad we did this run. I'm sorry I made you suffer through this last one, but it is what it is.
Well, you know, the Exodus run was actually my choice, knowing full well that you would be able to carry this one. And I felt like that this was something we should do. I'd like to do the larger band, the smaller band, the larger band, the smaller band, just kind of.
Is it so? In light of what our next series is this the smaller band or the larger band?
Well, I regret a lot of choices, but I don't know.
Shall you announce it? You should announce it.
I will announce it. We have agreed that we are going to kick the holy living shit out of me, and we're going to do. I don't know. Had a couple of beers. Our next series following. Are we doing a chaser next? We're going to drop the chaser, then drop that, or no?
We're going to drop the chaser that we're going to record next week and then begin a new series, but we should name the series now.
We have a chaser coming up next week. The week after, we are going to bust out post-rock, Toasted Posties, Heroes, Baroness. And apparently we are just going to we're going to put on our work boots, get down there, stick our face in it, and go. My face will be in this microphone talking about Baroness until Keefy says I can stop, until Keefy is done with me.
You're going to have to be hard pressed to get me to stop. So you're going to need to stop both of us. And I'm a big fan, but yeah,
I love Baroness. I've seen them twice. They were part of my personal musical revival. They were one of the many records, one of the many bands I did reviews on where I was buying them. I spent the Glacially Musical blog. My good friend Darren, who runs the Fourth Line Voice, who discusses hockey fighting and minor league enforcers, some NHL enforcers. He talked about, losing passion because he keeps getting ghosted by these guys. And it occurred to me, the Glacially Musical blog, glaciallymusical.blogspot.com, if you want to really see this, has about 2,000 entries. And I wrote 1,900 of them. And reviews, interviews, everything. And I mean, it's crazy. And him talking about losing the passion reminded me of why I lost that passion. Why I lost the passion to continually write every day, to not write 2 posts every day. But
it's hard. It's very hard, let me tell you.
I know, I've been there. But Baroness,
I am there
with you. Baroness was one of the albums in 2012 when they did Yellow and Green, which I now have on vinyl, that I wrote about. And I didn't write about it. I wrote about it after buying it. So the first year and a half, 2 years of that blog was literally me buying records and writing about them.
Very cool. I don't know whose turn it is to go home. Whose turn is it?
I'm going to take it home because I want to.
All right, then.
Big thank you, as always, to Keefy, giving his time, giving his expertness, and trying to keep me in check. And maybe one day he will get there because I'm awful. But you know what? It has been a great series. We have talked about a band that is nostalgic, that is historic, that is significant. They may not be significant in albums sold, but they are significant in stories told. Oh, look at that rhyme. But in the meantime, thank you for listening to the Glacially Musical Podcast. Hopefully you have enjoyed this if you have made it this far. And you have hit like or subscribe, sent me an email at bachelor13@gmail.com. Followed Keefy on Twitter at Ghost Cult Mag, or hit me on Instagram at glacially_musical. If you haven't, just, you know what? Hit subscribe on your podcast device. Thank you for listening to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It does not play in Peoria.